Hey everyone, Andy here, and welcome to Rage Print. This is our next episode of the R2 Mark III, where we're going to be working on the footshells. So these are the footshell pieces for the left leg. Got the right leg pieces over there. Don't worry, I will get them the right way around. And zoom in here. So you can see we've got the three pieces. These were printed with the bamboo, and this was printed with my Sidewinder, just because I wanted it in one piece. Probably could have printed that in one piece to be fair on the Sidewinder, but we'll put these together. We'll mount the magnets in, assuming I have the magnets, which case I might have to order the magnets and then put the magnets in. And yeah, then we'll put it onto the foot, and hopefully we'll then be able to test the foot out and make sure that it works. You'll actually mount it to the droid, and we'll try driving it. I've removed the Padawan pieces out of the old R2, and they're not going to be used, but for the moment it's just kind of drop and play. So we can wire it up into the new R2, and then we can test to make sure that the motors and the front foot work okay. So that's the plan so for the moment. So let's get going with this. Right, let's straighten it up a bit. Close enough. Right. So these were printed this way round, as was this one. And despite appearances, they do actually sit flat. Yeah, so they're printed upside down. As I said, they're printed on the bamboo. They were printed at 0.2mm, and they were 15% infill, I think. Anyway, when they come off, usual sort of thing, got to take the brim off. So just take the brim off. I'll do that properly in a minute. And you'll also see we've got this sort of triangle bit here. That just snaps off. We don't need that. And the same on the other one. Don't need that. That just snaps off. That can get cleaned up. That'll focus properly. It's a bit naff, but that'll get cleaned up with using putty as well, so that's fine. But overall, I'm quite pleased with the way these came out. I did get what looks like a slight layer shift here. I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera, white, but there's like a layer shift along here. I'm not even sure if it's a layer shift because it's not actually moved. I don't know, it's weird. It's just a blemish. But anyway, I can live with that. So those two pieces are going to go together like that. And then this piece will bolt on here. So it looks like that. And this cutout here is for the motor. So you have the motor here. This is the front where the battery box, the battery hose connectors go. So this just needs tidying up. This just bolts down. So we're just going to use M4 bolts here with M4 square nuts. These bits, because they've been sliced, I normally would say that should be a grub screw, but it's not thick enough, especially up here. So this is actually going to be a bit of filament. So I'm going to put a bit of filament in and try and line it up and then glue it together. Could be interesting. You'll also note that it hasn't printed this bit very well. There'll be a magnet going there. There'll be two magnets going there. I'm not worried about that. It's not structural as such. It just didn't print it very well. I think the wall might be a bit too thin. That might also explain what happened here as well, with where the line started. No, because it printed that way. So I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm not worried about the hole. If needs be, I could always fill it in with something, but I think it'd be okay. So, as I said, these two pieces go together like that, and hopefully they line up. I worry there might be a slight bit of warping going on here. Yeah, it looks like there's been a bit of warping. So obviously printed like this. So this is the bottom. If I line up these two pieces here, so the two bottoms, so that's now more or less lined up. I don't know how well you'll be able to see how far out is here. That's quite a significant step. I'm trying to do this without it tipping over. So, yeah, line that up. It's quite a significant step here. So and here as well. So something's warped, and I'm thinking it's warped off the bed slightly, which is worrying because I had the fans turned off at this point. So if we line it up at the bottom, as in the bottom of the footshell, so this bit's all correct, we now end up with a very slight step here, which is easier to fix and less noticeable when the droid is moving. It also means that the plate that goes here will be okay as well. Yeah, that's less noticeable. It's not perfect, it's less noticeable. Well, that's annoying. See, even bamboos can't print perfectly all the time. Anyway, right. So I'm going to clean up these edges with the deburring tool and a bit of filing, and then we can start bolting this thing together. Right, tidy those up with the deburring tool, and I got out a spare bit of filament. So I'm just going to snip a bit off. I don't know how long it needs to be. Check it even fits. Oh, that's deeper than I was expecting. All right. So let's say that long. Say that long. What's that? That length of the thumb. That's a guess. So I'm going to need 3 of those. Expecting to have to trim this down, but good starting point. Let's pop the filament in there. I'm also hoping with this warp that the holes still line up. Let's find out in a minute. Okay, they're significantly shorter. Okay. Just a bit. And this another bit. Let's have a look. So I was also having to think about the warp while I was not chaos warp, the warp of here while I was deburring it, and I think it might be a case of the auto-generated brims on Orca Slicer was at a fault. So it put really wide brims here, and it's already quite thick, so less likely to warp. But these are quite thin pieces. The brims were quite thin. So I think if I was to do this again, I would override the brim settings and put bigger brims on just to keep it stuck to the bed, and maybe do thicker brims as well. Maybe do 2 layers. I'm sure you can do that in Orca Slicer, have 2 layers. But yeah, so it's partially a fault of the model in the fact it's quite thin here. Fault's the wrong word. It's partially a consequence of the model being quite thin here and printers being what they are, that it will just warp from the bed. So yeah, just have to deal with it. It's just one of those things. So let's pop these together and see how big they actually are. I hope they all line up. As long as the bottom one, right? Okay. Not very deep at all. Cut you down to how how much was it? It's about that much. So cut it down by about that much. So we're now looking at about that big. I could measure it. I just want to keep you guys guessing. Right. See if this works. Hopefully it all lines up. As I said, the important bit to line up is the bottom, because that's very visible if it's not lined up. How deep is that? How deep is that side? Right, okay. Cut a lot more off on that one. Can't pull that bar out now to show you how far I cut it off, but you're like right, a tiny bit more on these bits here. And tiny bit more off the bottom. See, I'd rather start off with long pieces and then trim them down. It's not like I'm short on spare filament end of rolls. Ooh. Right. So this bit's more or less flat. There's a bit of roughness there, but that's flat. Is that flat? It's hard to tell. Of course, as soon as I move it, it falls apart. Maybe I should have printed these in one piece. Right. Right, okay. Let's have a look. So with the filament rods in, I can't quite force it into place, but it's not too far off. Yeah, we're talking like 0.5 mil when R2's driving around. Are you going to notice? Probably not. So I think we can work with that. Yeah, I think we can work with that. So first things first, make sure they're pushed fully in. Get the EMA out. In case you're wondering, it's the end of January. It's freezing cold in here. I've got an oil-filled radiator on. And my paintbrush is black for some reason. So let's get those pegs in. Make sure the glue's in there nice and tight. Nice and tight. All the way in down there. Right. And then let's run the glue along here. And a bit along here as well. So it goes in the hole for the receiving end of the peg. And then very quickly get them together. There we go. I hope your clamp is big enough to go with the footshell. Okay. I might need some bigger clamps. Push you together. Push you together. Need to be fair, once the other part's on as well. I'll hold it together. But I don't want this to be a weak point if I can help it. Although once the motor's in, that's holding it in place. As I said, once this grey bit's on, I'll hold it in place as well. My lovely white footshell. Why is it grey? What have I stuck together that's grey or black? Do that up. Try and force that flatter. There we go. Right, I'll just leave that for a few minutes. I'm using the clamp not to clamp the two pieces together, but more just to try and keep the alignment correct. That's the plan anyway. Whoa. Because I don't want to put too much pressure on it either. Otherwise it'll push itself apart, which is the other problem. Right, let's leave that to set. Won't take long. Yeah, let's leave that set. In the meantime, let's look at this bit. Let's look at this bit here. So as I said, I printed this all in one piece. You can print it in two halves, same as this, but this is already in two halves. Okay. Yeah, the shell's already in two halves. Do you really want this in two halves with a split in the same point? Probably not. So luckily I've got the ability to still print this in one piece on the Sidewinder. Glad I haven't got rid of the other one yet. And yes, the print quality is a lot poorer. You know, I'm seeing, despite the fact I've got Clipper on there and it's all been, apparently, it's all been, you know, what's the word? Acceleration compensated. Yeah. You can still see a lot of ghosting, and it's not brilliant compared to the Bamboo. You suddenly realise how good the Bamboo actually is, notwithstanding all the current crisis with APIs and Orca Slicer and whatever else is going on. So as I said, this is in one piece, and you can see in here we've got some M4 holes. And there's just two in there. I thought there was supposed to be four. Oh, hex nuts for the lower bolt. Right, okay. misread it. So we're going to have some square nuts in here, and then these holes here, which correspond with the holes on the other side, will just be held with hex nuts. And that's all there is to it, really. So once that's dry, we can put this in. So I will leave it a few more minutes, and then we'll bolt it on. Right, I think this is set long enough. So what I'm going to do now is actually install the magnets that go in these holes here. That's why I'm wearing the serial killer gloves. So just open this up. Incidentally, if anyone can find a way to store this stuff where it doesn't leak, because when I finish it, I'll store it like that, flat, but it leaks. So I've had to go and buy a new one. And I keep having to do this, go and buy a new one. And I mean, they're not cheap anymore. I mean, these are like £8 a packet. But yeah, so if anybody knows the way of doing it where they don't leak. Right. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I'll make sure the top's on tight enough. But anyway. Sorry, I just really confused myself. I can't find the panels that go in here. I can find the panels for the centre foot, but not the panels for these ones. And I don't think I've printed them. I thought I was going to. I think the intention was to reuse the ones with the styrene R2, which won't fit. So I don't know what I was thinking. Which means I'll have to reprint them. Not reprint them. I'll have to print them, which is fine. Right. 10 by 5. And I'm going to put the X side down in this case. Or should I put the X side? No, I'll put the X side up. Just so when I come to do the panels, I'll know that I did actually mark the magnets. I'll go grab the other footshell in a second and do that as well. Right, X side up. X side up. Let's go grab the other footshell. Other footshell, which you'll note I haven't actually put together yet, but I'm going to pop the magnets in now. Keep it the same orientation while I have some epoxy out. Right, X side up. Ow. X side up. So they're now floating in resin. Try and keep them flat. You guys are okay? Right, let you dry over here. Right, there. Right, any more resin in. No more resin in. No more resin for the moment. I'm just going to take these off. Right. Back to this one. So you can ignore the magnets for the moment. Saying that. Hole in the back. Right, let's have a look at these then. So we have this. Now I'm not expecting it to line up. Right. Gluing the first and then holding with bolts. But you're finishing sounding your cracking. Right, okay, yeah, so we need to glue it. So let's make sure. Let's bolt it first just to make sure it is actually all in line, and I will hot glue the square nuts in place. Square nuts. So what are those square nuts for then? What are they for? So, there's some square nut. Now turn it in the right angle so you can see it. There's some square nut holes here and two on the other side. I don't know what they're for. Do I put the square nuts in just to be on the safe side? What attaches there? That would be the drive. Yeah, there are corresponding holes on the drive. So I'm going to put some square nuts in there as well. There's my trusty pointy stick. There you are. Right, let's test bolt this together. I've hot glued the square nuts in. So we need an M4 by 10. That's going to go in against what they call the upper bolts. So that's going to go here. This is going to be interesting. No room there. Right. It's catching, but it's not going anywhere. It's refusing to tighten up. I wonder if that's because it's not long enough. Let's try the 12. There we go. That's bitten into it. So M4 by 12 appears to be the one to use here. So go into the M4 square nuts. My concern is now, the fact these magnets keep moving, is that these bolts screws are now sitting proud. So I don't know what's going to happen there. Right. Oh, pardon me. Right, I need 15s for the ones here. I don't appear to have any 15s. I've got 16 sockets. And 30, 50, 12. Okay. We'll have to try 18s and see what happens. To be fair, the length doesn't matter because they're going down and you've got space this side. So 18s are fine. And then just put a hex nut on the other side. He says. this is definitely a case of the bolts are just going to hold it in place. They're not. I can't get them to go tight enough to be a permanent fix and then not have to do anything else to them. But ignoring that, how are we looking? Right, there is a slight change here. Looks like we had a bit more warping on the build plate of the Sidewinder. And there's quite a lot of movement here on this side. If I can tighten it up more, that would help. Problem is, there's no room to get into it. Let's try it now. There you go. I'm going to use a single bit. Right, that's better. And that's just a bit of warping, which is no worse than any other bit so far. Let's push you down again. Right. Okay, I'm happy with that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That looks quite good. So before I glue this on, let's check to see if this is going to fit properly. So we get the drive, but got the motor this side. As I said, the motor cutout goes there. So theoretically, this should just slide over. Should just slide over. This is going to be one of those points where I can't get the damn thing back out again to glue the this together. Let's have a look. It's nearly there. I think screwing it down would help. Although, is it stuck on something? Is it that screw? Might be this screw actually. It might not be able to go any further down. Yeah. Alright. Come on. So I think the shell's fine. Can't you see me there? I think the shell itself is fine. I think the issue I have now is actually back with the foot drive, and which one was it? It's this screw here. It's that edge is pushing it up against this shell. If I move it over this way, so that there's more sticking out this side, there's more room this side, that should fix it. So I will quickly do that. Check it fits, and then we'll mount it. We'll glue the grey bit down, and then we'll mount this in properly. I'm a little unsure how I'm going to get a screwdriver in to get these 4 screws here, but we'll see. We'll see. So let me sort out that bolt, and then we'll come back. Right, that's better. It's now no longer catching on the inside there. As I said, you've got plenty of room this side, so that's fine. And it has gone. It's still not perfect, but it's better. The problem now seems to be, other than that bit bowing out, is this won't go down any further. Although it will seem to push itself into place. So I think when the 4 screws, where are they? Here, go in, that should help. Yeah, I think that will do it. Okay. So it's just those 4 screws. So before we do that, I'm going to glue in. Come on, give me it. Well, at least I can get it back out from maintenance. More or less. I think it's my motor, actually, that's catching. Oh, there we go. Right. Yeah, let's glue this bit on. Make sure it's in the position I want it in. I think what I'm going to do is actually glue it in place. I would normally take the thing back apart and run glue in it. But I think the glue would set before I get a chance to actually push it together. But there is a bit of give, so I should be able to run some glue inside. And there is a bit of a step there. But that's the back. So my fingers are getting absolutely covered in little bits of epoxy. Because I didn't tidy up properly, apparently. But the front is perfect, which is what most people are going to see. That on the side. Give these another push to keep them level again. There we go. They're getting stiffer, which means they're starting to set. Yeah, let's glue you in. And I think I can clamp here. These magnets. Can I clamp there? I can. Sort of. Right. Yeah, let's glue it together. See if I can get it. Maybe I should use hex screws for this one. Yeah, let's glue. Let's glue. Keeping myself absolutely no room to work with. Right, I am going to leave that to set, which won't take long admittedly, but also give the epoxy more chance to go off so it stops sticking to my fingers. It's just going to snap it. No, okay. Yeah, I was going to leave that set, let the epoxy dry, and then we can come back and mount the drive. And then what I will do is off camera is build the other shell, which is essentially the mirror image of this one, and then we can mount them into the droid, hopefully. I will see you in a bit. Right, let's try putting this in. So, it's this side mainly. So now we need some screws. I think I need some hex ones. Do I not have any hex ones? Apparently not. Right, okay. Oh, that'll work. Okay. Right, it's a M4 by 10. 4 by 10. What we tried using earlier. Hopefully these will catch. So, of course, these are non-magnetic. Okay. Right. magnetic screwdriver. If you think this looks awkward, it's because it is. That was a... Right, these are 12s I'm using. It does say to 10s, but my 12s are the only ones that are magnetic to enable me to get a screw down there. I'm hoping this is still doing the job. Come on. The wheel gets in the way on this one, just so you're aware. I can see that one getting stripped out if you're not careful. Right, so if this is right, that should now flattened out on the top. It has not. Has it got these screws in line? No. So what's stopping you? What's stopping you? Nothing. Nothing is stopping you. Nothing is stopping you from sitting flush. You sit flush, you don't. It's the back, who's going to care? Let me think about this one. Right, stupidly, when I put the drive in the shell, I forgot to put the hex nut in. So there's an M10 hex nut that goes in there. And then normally there's a printed bar that goes through here. But a lot of people have been swapping these out for bolts. Now on my old R2, I had an M6 bolt going through for the ankle, and then in the middle of the ankle, and sort of in this part of the ankle, I had some bushings, and that protected the plastic from getting worn away from the thread of the bolt. Now, this will fit an M12 bolt through, but bizarrely will only fit an M10 hex nut. So what I've done is, because I can't get what I need from B&Q, I bought a 12mm diameter aluminium pipe and cut it down to 75mm. It's a 1mm thickness, so the inner diameter is 10mm. I then got hold of some 80mm bolts. I would have preferred ones with a hex, with like a screw thread on it, but again, that's all I could get hold of. And then put the two together, and I got a very rudimentary coach bolt. That will then go through here, and then just tighten up. like so. So we now have the bolt going through to secure the ankle and keep it in place, but also now a bushing going all the way through the ankle to stop it being worn away. So that's what I've done. And what I will do next is just glue the hex nut in. Right, so I've just glued the nut in using just Gorilla Glue. I probably should have used the epoxy, but I think this will be fine. The hole's holding it more or less in place. I'm in two minds about gluing this down as well. Do you know what? I think I might just glue that in place so that actually when the bolt pulls out, the whole bolt comes with it, rather than having to try and then fish out this bit. It appears to have got this super glue on there. Yeah, let's do that. I've got plenty of spare bolts. Got super glue on there. Okay, I'll just leave that to dry. I'm not sure how well it's going to stick actually. I'll leave it to dry. Get the remaining bits of super glue off my fingers, and then I'll cut the other one. Right, there we are, 2 coach bolts. Here, 2 coach bolts. So I'm just going to let those set and get the random bits of aluminium out my fingers. We can now put this back into there. So let's move these to the side. Yeah, and I can put this back in there, put the screws back in, and we should be good then. Something I've noticed, I put that post in the wrong way around when I took it apart. This curve should be following that curve. This slant should be following that slant. So I put it in upside down, which was rather dumb of me. It would explain why I can't get to the M3 square nuts. But I'm not going to take it apart again because I can get the thing in. So I'm not going to worry too much. So I'll put this back in here and build the other drive up. The other foot shell up, and then we can look at actually mounting it to R2. Yeah, my new cameraman. Right, got both foot shells done. So let's attach to the body. I've already decided that I'll be replacing the inner panel for the centre ankle with a wood one. We'll cover that a different episode. But at the moment, let's just attach him as he is. Oh, bits everywhere. Right. Get this out of the way. So I've got my 2 bolts. And that's the front because you've got the battery hose connectors. So I need to pull forward a bit more. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Does that actually make it easier? That may make it easier actually. So one ankle, put that through, and just push the bolt through from this side. I suppose the check actually goes through on here. Does with a bit of effort. Right around. You'll notice there's no battery boxes yet. Just line that up. This is the fun bit, trying to line these up. There we go. This is where a screw head would have been easier. Also, I have no real idea if that's actually connected to anything or not. It's not pushed in all the way. Do the hole there, really. I mean, it's not tightening up anymore. Yeah, I can't tighten that up anymore. I wonder if I've got the screw slightly unthreaded. Slightly cross-threaded the screw. Seems to be in position. Let's try the other one. That's acting the same. Okay. I was expecting that to tighten up a bit more, but it's latching onto something, so incidentally, if you want to stop the side-to-side movement, you can put a few washers in here between these bits. I mean, that seems okay. It's not moving. Okay, well. Things you should not do on your own. Honestly, it might be easy to take the legs off, but there we go. Right, now I can get you in position. go. And then you can put the centre foot in. Yay! Right, let's get it. I'm going to put the other bolt in on the other side. Of course, probably should check. There we go. Let the go through. There we go. Try and tighten you up. First movement. Right, that's not latched into the screw hole. That's worrying. Right. So take that out for a second. Rest R2 on an old battery. Yeah, I just said that. We're going to rest R2 on an old battery. Sorry, you can't really see what I'm doing, can you? You're fired. Worst cameraman in the world. Yeah, you look sad. Right. So I put rest R2's ankle on this battery for the moment, and I'm going to double check to see how this goes in or doesn't go in, as the case may be. It's not catching. So when I glued the nut in, I must have done something wrong. I have to take it apart. Yeah, so I had got the bolt in just the wrong place and it wasn't quite catching. I've knocked it out, put a new bolt in. The fact I was able to knock it out was kind of worrying. I was concerned that the super glue hadn't set either. Anyway, put a new bolt in. I've tested it and it does screw up this time. So I'll put that back in the shell and then we can mount that to R2's body, hopefully. Right, got him on 3 feet finally. So it's looking pretty good. And as having to think about this, I'm either going to fiberglass it, because I've made the mistake of these 4 cardinal point bolts. I didn't put the long ones in, and it's hard to take them back out again. So I can't put the cross brace in. I'm not terribly worried because that is pretty solid, and I printed it pretty solid anyway. And to be fair, on the old R2, it was a single flimsy bit of plastic, so might be overkill to worry about it. But anyway, I'm going to fiberglass it so I can still keep the same length bolts, and as well, I might also cut it out of plywood. Use this as a template, cut out of plywood, and then keep the fiberglass one. If I run into any trouble, I then have the plywood one to hand to be able to just bolt in and replace it. I think the fiberglass will be enough. As I said, that's pretty solid anyway. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with that. So I think the step now is to hook that up in its basic form, so literally just the motors. Hook the Xbox up, hope I can get it running just in the basic form, wire it in here and check the motors work, and then we should be good to go. I mean, let's get some power into this thing. Right, as I said, so I've got the legs on. I'm going to put some wiring up through the legs here. There you go. So the leg wire is going to go up through here. So essentially, I'm going to have to try and twist the motor cables. Yeah, the motor cables are going to have to sort of almost hide somehow, and twist back through, and then go up through here, up through the leg, and then they'll pop out through here, and then I'm going to hook them up to my existing Padawan controllers. I'm not keeping Padawan, but this is just for the test. I'm going to make sure they're wired up roughly the same way, because these wires then go into the Sabertooth, which is wired up correctly for driving it back and forth. So what I do need to do is probably mess around with the wire connections. I'm not going to put the XT60 connection on the other end. I'm going to see if the bullet connectors fit, just temporarily, and hook that up, make sure they're the right way around, and then hopefully we'll get a driving back and forth. And then we can prove that the motors work and that he moves okay. That's pretty much all I'm going to be proving with this, really. So the wire I bought from the range, actually. I was going to get it from Halfords. And it's a 27 amp cable in AWG. There isn't the direct equivalent. I think it would be AWG 11 if it existed. So 10 is fine because that's 20 amp, but 12 would be better. 12 will give you 30 amp. So this is 27 amp, so this is essentially AWG 11. This will be fine. Hopefully 2.5 meters is enough. I will go up and over twice. I might have to go and get some more. This was the last one in the range as well. Or I might have to go to Halfords and get their version of it. But anyway, yeah. So that was the range, a few quid. And I also got the red and the black. I'll just run those up. I'll put spade connectors on this end for now. There we go. So thread it through. Oop, pull that a bit. Thread it through. And out this side. I started this side and pushed it down and down that way. So that's one side in. And I'm just going to do the other side now. Just enough. So now I've got the wires going up both legs. And I give myself, hopefully, enough slack either side. We'll hook it up to these XTCs somehow. The bullet connectors aren't going to fit. So I'm actually thinking I might just cut these off and just go straight for some straight bullet connectors or spade connectors. It's only temporary. I don't care. I'm not going to worry too much about it. Right, these are wired up. They are identically wired for the moment because I know one of the motors needs to be wired back to front, as in the positive and negative. But I can't for the life of me remember which one's which. So we'll turn it on, try it out, and I'm going to have to try all the different wiring combinations. I know that these two wires go to these legs and these two wires go to these legs because that's how they were labelled on the old one. And I'll just keep playing around until they get in the right way around, and then we can try driving it. Well, apparently I can still wire things up okay, so this is very rickety. I do not recommend this being a permanent solution in any way, shape or form. Battery, going to fuse socket, fuse is on. We have power going to everything. Yeah, we've got power going to everything. These would disengage the motors, but we need those on for the moment. That's flashing because it's trying to connect to something that isn't there anymore. Likewise, this isn't connected to anything. I have electrical taped the ends of these things, so nothing should be touching anything that it shouldn't be touching. And they've even done it on here as well. Let's try it out. I can't remember where I put the Xbox controller. There, obviously. This is when I found out the Xbox controller's got no power left. Yeah. Of course, it's got no sound, so I don't know if it's working or not. That implies it's not connected to anything. Right, you're there. Are you there? Let's try pairing it. Oh. Right. So I'm pushing right and I'm going backwards. Left is forwards. forward is trying to turn right. No, sorry, I'm pushing left and it goes backwards. Right and it goes forwards. Push forwards, it's trying to go right. Backwards is trying to go left. So, hey, yes, I have got the things mixed up. So let's have a look at that. Right, so all right up. We are... No, turn that off. I think we are ready to go. Turning on the spot's a bit difficult. In case you're wondering, the blanket there acting as kind of a crash mat. Oh, bit of wheel spin. Thinking about it, probably this has been calibrated for the chain drive. This is no longer chain drive, this is a gear drive. Oh, yeah, there it is again. Thing is, because it's flashing, I don't actually know which. Right, that's Padawan speed 1. Right, already see I'm going to probably want ankle locks. All 3 ankles. I'm probably also going to put some washers between the ankles and the foot channels. Just try and get rid of some of that wobble there. Some of that wobble is actually due to the fact the ankles aren't actually attached into the legs properly. So, especially on that grey one. Oh, this is running out of power. This is why. I think that works. As I said, Padawan's a temporary solution anyway. This is the old R2 control system. New one's going to be RC, so I can tweak the acceleration curve slightly more. Assuming it is just the acceleration curve, and there's not something going on with the foot motors I need to look at. But other than that, I'm really happy with it. And I lost power to the controller again. Yeah. Right. I think we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you made it this far anyway, and if you have, you're awesome. And I will see you on the next one. Bye for now.